an update. As per the usual, I give updates and I do so in a way that I can save and share publicly with witnesses. Um, and I know that it sounds super dramatic for some people or weird or like extra, but for me, in my experience over the last 5 to 10 years, I've needed to do so. And it also helps me keep direction. Um, Everyone knows. If you don't know, you can review some of my other lives, what has gone on. I don't want to rehash all of it every single time I get on the live, but I was physically, sexually, and financially assaulted by a number of very different parties over the last 5 years. And every time I would report it to law enforcement, and even went as far as to report it to the FBI on, a live feed, I've just been shut down every time I ask for help with it. The police will answer, or someone posing as police, and tell me that I should call a doctor because I'm crazy. That if I don't know who the stalker is or who the person hanging up the photos of me and posters of me and stalking me to the places I go to, if I don't know who they are, that there's nothing they can do to help me. And it's just been incredibly difficult and frustrating. I had Weston, and 3 days after he was born, DCFS showed up at my hospital door saying that they had received a number of anonymous phone calls, that they could not identify the caller, and those are direct quotes from them, saying that I was a number of things. That I, number one, didn't have medical treatment during my pregnancy. Not true. I presented them with my medical records at the time that they showed up at my hospital bed. That I had been unhinged mentally and had no access to, or was refusing to follow up with a physician. Not true. My doctor took the stand and told them that that's not true. It's just a blatant fabrication by a stranger. Number three was that I was houseless. I was houseless, and I had hundreds of tickets for help called in to 311, which is the city's shelter hotline. It was blizzarding, it was squalling, literal like 10 to 20 foot waves. We went to Northwestern, we went to St. Joseph's, and we went to 3 different private physicians, including my own, and then 2 different OB gynecologists, asking them for help with social services with regards to housing. We also called the police from the Belmont Harbor District every single week, updating them that we had open tickets for 311, that they were refusing to assist us in any way. Now, when I say a blizzard and a tent, there was no inflatable mattress. I was on a sleeping bag, 40 weeks pregnant, on cement in a parking lot. Like literally on bed rest from 5 months all the way until Weston was born, because I was having contractions. Basically, I don't know if it's because of my involvement with the reality show, the whole whopping 6 episodes that like made me the villain in their story, and produced a lot of just perspective and opinion and viewpoint that was very and if you know anything about editing or production, it's very easy. If you have enough footage of someone, you can portray them in any light. Someone can be responding to like a nasty odor, and you can play it back as them giving an attitude to another person or provoking an argument. Or, there's just a ton that you can do if you're good at digital content creation, and even if you're not that good, to alter perception. And so I am currently looking to hire, for profit, a digital team that will help me create, from all of the content that I have on all of my iClouds over the last 10 years, a chronological depiction of exactly what has gone on. I filed an emergency motion to vacate with proof to disprove every allegation. And I've jumped through every hoop that the agency has set for me. There's a whole bunch of corruption that I'm not allowed to discuss, because the judge said that if I discussed that on camera, that I would be held in contempt. They canceled our last court date from January and pushed it all the way back to April. And this entire year, I've only been permitted to spend 2 hours, 3 days a week with my son, Weston. The big kids who I have court-ordered custody of have not been able to come home with me because of the housing instability. And again, the housing instability has nothing to do with my deficit or my inability to work. Because I've had, another job for 6 months now, and no issues. So there are some very real patterns here that they've gone on so many times in the last 5 years. They're so easy to identify. That puts a tremendous weight on society, criminal justice, police, all of us, attorneys, lawyers, judges, everyone, because if you are witnessing yourself this substantial amount of proof to prove exactly where I've been and what I've been through, and you can see that I have been withheld human rights for quite some time, that I was pregnant, on cement during a blizzard for 5 months, unable to walk, because when I would walk, I would start contracting, all of this going on. If no one does anything, we will die. Like, society will be over. We cannot be okay with a society where a pregnant woman is raped in a tent and left to die. We cannot be okay with a society where a pregnant woman and her significant other are forced to, behave crazy, or provoked into, or antagonized into behavior that is volatile, because whoever's responsible